Hi! Today is a lovely sunny December day. I decided to chase that light and make a little video that I have prepared for a while. I love doing these favorites videos because it makes me like look around and really pick up on and enjoy all of the things that I love already in my life. I'm gonna start off with Luna Lapin. I made this one this summer. It's the first one I made. Hand sewed it from a pair of linen pants I found at a swapping meet that had a tear and they were too small for me. A fun, interesting thing for me to do because I've never done anything with a sewing pattern before. I made a second one for my friend where I did a lot of things differently. I added a little bit more of a seam allowance and I added padding in the butt and in the feet, and I added a little small pouch of lavender in the stomach that you could like smell. It looks completely different even though it's the same basic pattern. I think that's interesting. Lots of little details to fuss about, and I love making things thoughtfully by hand like that. I cannot tell you how excited I am at the idea of my close friends having kids one day so that I can make their kids cute things. In that same category, these wool wrist warmers are some of my favorite things to wear for winter. I just created a very simple tube with a hole in it for the thumb. No increasing or anything, just a simple hole. The most detailed part I did was adding an elastic around the top part here so that they kind of hug my hand instead of folding over. For any outfit where your wrists are a little bit exposed in the winter, it's so good to have wrist warmers. They keep you so much warmer in any outfit. And these also, I knitted these red socks in the summertime randomly because I have a pair of shoes that I wanted a pair of red socks with and I didn't own any, and then I just made them for myself. These are so wonderful. I've worn them so much. I really love them, the way that they add a little touch, a little texture to any outfit. And I did write down how I did it, and I do want to try to follow that same approach in another pair of socks because I've worn these so much more than a lot of my other hand knitted socks. Another thing I made myself were these slippers. I made them last winter. They are the 19 row duffers. There's a pattern on Ravelry. Once I got like the hang of it, I made myself a green pair, then I made myself this white and pink pair, and I made my mom a pair, I made LB a pair, I made my boyfriend a pair, and my grandmother a pair. Like, I went all out on these. I made a lot of pairs. You knit them and then you felt them in the washing machine, so they're like really thick and warm and perfect for puttering about in your apartment during the winter months and keeping you warm. They're like very cutesy. I feel like I love the little toe bump effect it has that reminded me of Keen's. That's why I fell in love with the pattern and the idea of making these for myself and everyone else I knew apparently. I really recommend this pattern if you are looking for a pair of slippers. You can make them yourself. The last thing in this section are my homemade stickers. I talked about them in a previous video, and I also made a little reel about it on Instagram that I thrifted some label paper that I used to create stickers printed at my university's library. Like, this is really DIY stuff. But it was really fun for me to make them, and I have been having a lot of fun putting them in different places around my apartment. So those were things I've made. Now the next section, I guess, is like technology stuff. First off, I have my new headphones. These had to go in here because I spend a lot of money on them and I wear them a lot. And I love that they're not black. That's my favorite thing about them. And I kind of like how big they are. I had to get used to the fact that you change the music or pause it or anything by tapping this. I still am adjusting to it. I sometimes tap it by accident, or like if I touch my shoulder to it or something, sometimes it'll react, which is a little bit annoying. It is what it is. I also have my alarm clock, which I don't want to unplug, so I'm not going to show it here, but it's this wonderful clock that not only has an alarm, but is actually a lamp. It's perfect here for the winter where it's so dark, especially here in the north. Like, the sun doesn't come up until 8 or 8:30. It's just really wonderful to be woken up gradually by like a fake sunset, and you can also double tap it and have like a warm setting for at night. I found it secondhand on Marketplace after looking for it for quite a while because I saw it at a thrift store and I love the kind of like blob technology look of it, the kind of space age, early iMac kind of look. I was just really smitten with it and I found it. This guy was selling it and I have not looked back since. I really recommend it if you're in the northern hemisphere. Getting an alarm clock with a lamp in it. And it's quite pretty, I think, as well. And I like having a lot of sources of warm light here in the winter, which is also something I write in my newest Substack post, which I had a lot of fun putting together. There's like quite a lot of overlap with this video, but I still try to make like distinct elements in both. I have kind of been neglecting my Substack. I know the last post I did was in January of this year, so it's almost been a whole year without writing anything on there. I'm sorry. And I do want to pick it back up because I have a lot of fun. I just wanted to put that in there, that you can read that post. And also I wanted to ask if you want me to write about anything specific, you can request it because I will probably listen to you. Then there's my little action camera that I use quite a lot. I bought it back in March, used it a lot when I first got it, and then something happened where it like glitched every time I turned it on or tried to start filming. It would freeze up and I thought that it was just too old and that it was broken and that I had wasted my money on it. But then I just reformatted the SD card, which worked, and now it works again and I am so happy with it. It also feels a little bit like working with an analog camera because the screen is really small with very few megapixels and no backlight on it, so you can't really see what you're filming on here and it looks like it's going to be really bad quality. So I'm consistently pleasantly surprised with the results I get from filming on this little thing. It also does take some nice pictures and I really like bringing it out to film in public because it doesn't really look like a big vlogging camera. It's also just smaller, like stuff it in your little pocket. So this is a calculator from the design brand Alessi. I love kind of like blob technology, space age kind of vibes, and I really love the way the buttons feel and click when you work them. The kitchen timer is also from Alessi that I found at a thrift store, and it's kind of, instead of using your phone and setting a timer on your phone, you can use that. It's one of my life's little pleasures to use this instead of my screen on my phone. Last item on the technology list is my Nintendo DS. Specifically, I have been playing Super Mario Bros. On it, which I started doing last winter and this spring, and then I kind of had a pause over the summer, and now I've picked it back up again to give my mind like a break sometimes because I'm working so much, like intellectually. Doesn't feel as mindless as like scrolling on social media. It's a really joyful little part of my life to play Super Mario Bros. This is the Nintendo DS I've had since I was a kid. I'm really glad that I kept it all of these years because it feels really nostalgic to use as well. That's the last element of the technology part, I think. Next category is just called tea because I have a lot of different elements I realized of tea stuff. First of all, I really enjoyed brewing a whole pot of tea in the morning and then pouring most of it into this thermos to keep it hot so that I have a supply of tea for the whole day because I'm at home writing my exam. Then I have my sugar in this lemon, which I've had since 2017 I think, and it continues to be one of my favorite thrift finds. In this I have a spoon that LB carved for me for my birthday. This one's quite new. It's a little tea strainer shaped as a monkey that I got from my boyfriend's mom as a little advent gift, and it can like extend to bigger or smaller cups. The holes are relatively big on these types of strainers, so it's gonna be good for like a cup of mint tea. That's one of my next favorite things, which I already mentioned in my last video, but it's Ceylon with a bit of nettle, also raspberry leaf, sweetening that with honey, and then oat milk. This combination feels very like wintry, very nurturing. I recommend that combination if you like loose leaf tea and if you like black tea and also herbal tea. It's like a little bit of a fusion. The last element in the tea department is this one, Puka's Relax Tea Blend. I've been finding it fun to have some bagged teas and to drink some herbal bagged teas in the evening, because I think in the past I've gotten some of these and I've bought some of these for myself and I've had them for too long and they've gotten kind of dusty, old, and tasted like nothing. So I'm trying to be more diligent about actually using what I have, even if it runs out. If it's a finite resource, it's better to use it than to keep it, but having it slowly like decay or get worse over time. That's something in general, but exemplified through, for example, tea. We have a category of thrift finds, all things that I'm really happy that I've thrifted over the last year probably, and all things that are useful to me here in my winter time. First one is this little silver wine stopper. It just transforms this old juice bottle I have into a water carafe, which I'm really happy with because the one I bought broke sadly, and I really love having cold water in the fridge, and I like having that in a glass bottle. It just feels more luxurious and nice, something to keep out the fridge taste from the water. And on the same topic of water, I bought this at a thrift store. It's a flat water bottle. My mom has one. She has talked a lot about how practical it is for different bags to have one that's flat instead of round. I was there with my friend Maya and we decided to get one each, so we're two. So now we have like matching friend water bottles. Also, it looks really cool when you drink because of the way that the air bubbles rise up, and then I've been told that it looks kind of like something you use in a machine or space station or something. It's fun to have like a water bottle that looks weird. Not all of these are thrifted, but most of them are. I have a new love for badges and little pins and buttons. I think it depends on how you use them, but they can be a really fun styling element. This one's also kind of random, but I bought this little hand-bound brush for cleaning dust off of like intricate surfaces, and I have really been enjoying using this actually. I love when brushes are handmade in this way, and it has a little hole in it where I put a string so that I can hang it on my wall. Whenever something's handmade, it just appeals way more to me. I'm also really happy I bought this back in May, a little square scarf handkerchief in wool. I've worn it a lot as like a little hat to cover my ears to keep those warm, or as a scarf. I think there are just so many styling options in a piece like this, and I like the little pop of color it's added as well as texture. Next thing that I thrifted that I'm really happy with is this. It's a sheepskin sitting mat. I actually bought 5 of them because they fit exactly right onto this bench we have. So now there's one on one of the chairs and 3 on the bench and another one on another one of our chairs in here. And we have a lot of sheepskins and they are amazing for winter to keep you warm and cozy. And I really like the look of this like short black hair of this one. I've also thrifted these 2 scarves. They are separate, but they're both thrifted scarves. I really like how large and kind of elastic it is. I've worn it a lot as also kind of a hat to keep my ears warm. Feels really good. I like the color. I like the texture of it, especially this kind of wrinkly elastic effect it has. So that scarf. And then this one I got recently and I really like this. I think it's so interesting. First of all, it's silk, so that's why I even like noticed it, I think. Second of all, it's this kind of dark red, which I normally don't really go for. I don't have that many elements of it in my wardrobe. And then third of all, it kind of looks like a feather boa or like a clown color when you wear it. It's quite small, so it's not as warm as a different scarf. I wore it to like a Christmas party the other day. It was way too warm to keep wearing it, which I was a little sad about because it feels very festive. So I think these are really special and interesting. The last things I've thrifted in this category are some books, something I don't look at all, the book section in the thrift store, because there's so many and a lot of them are really repetitive and boring and not worth your while in my opinion. But it's been really fun to kind of dig around for newer publications with beautiful covers and interesting blurbs on the back. So I'm going in like relatively with no knowledge of what it actually is, going just based on like the vibes. So I'm really excited to get into all of these books. I have a brief category of gifts I've gotten because it's only a few months since I had my 26th birthday. I got this Zippo lighter from my boyfriend. He also had it engraved for me with these little symbols that have personal meaning. I mean, I'm excited to go camping or be in a situation where it makes sense for me to have this because I don't smoke. It's a really special gift that I'm gonna treasure. And this next one is as well. It's this lovely little hand towel that my friend Elby, or Lagebjørn, has woven, I think a couple of years ago. I complimented a similar one they had in their home, and they picked up on that and they gave me this for my birthday, and I am so happy to have this very special handmade linen piece. I also got gifted this from my grandmother. Currently I already have this to keep sugar in, so I have lavender in here because I've had a habit of picking lavender and just putting it in my pocket. So it smells really nice. It's one that my grandmother and grandfather had for a really long time, always out on the table. And then the spoon was also part of the set. This lovely silver spoon that's also kind of an heirloom. Some of the really special gifts I got for my birthday that I really value and treasure. And I also got a trip to Lisbon with my parents, which isn't like a material thing that I can show you, but that's been really special for me to experience. I haven't traveled with my parents since I was like a teenager, and I documented the whole thing. I made a little video about it if you want to watch it. This next category is clothing care, I would call it. I have this debobbler from the brand Steamery. It looks so beautiful, and you charge it with USB-C. Lasts a pretty long time per charge, and it's easy to empty out. Oh, there's some fluff in there. This is another birthday present I got from Thomas. I got it a few years ago. A really good essential for keeping your clothes looking and feeling fresh. Like, maybe you won't think about it until you have one and you try it, but it makes a huge difference for a lot of fabrics to be shaven, to be debobbled. World of a difference. So I'm just telling you, this is a true recommendation. It doesn't have to be this brand, but getting a debobbler, it will improve your wardrobe. This is a really practical thing. Spot remover spray from this German brand, I think Sonnet. And this also has a really pleasant, like very light scent. And it's quite effective. It's really good to have this just in my bag ready to go. I've spilled carrot juice on a white dress before and it actually got it off. If you have the option, go wash it out as well, because this is a type of soap. So it can like dry down and then it still will probably stain. People don't expect you to pull out a spot remover from your bag when you spilled something, and it's like, it's kind of extra, but I think it's a good level of commitment to have to your clothes. My laundry detergent is unscented, and then I have gotten into the habit of adding patchouli drops into the laundry detergent, which is like a slight little smell, not very strong. It's like an extra level of luxury to doing my laundry and to putting on fresh clothes that have been freshly washed that I have just really gotten a lot of joy out of. I've been air drying all of my clothes recently. All of my laundry I have just put up on a drying rack. It's not really cosmetics because I don't really use makeup, but it's kind of in that beauty area. Talking about like scents, I don't know why, but in recent years I've just gotten less and less into general perfume scents. I've found them all to be increasingly cloying and synthetic smelling and uncomfortable to smell. Just kind of almost stopped wearing perfume, except I've really gotten into this Arabesque wood perfume oil, which is from like Another Stories, which is owned by H&M, so it's like major fast fashion brand, so I'm not like repping or but there are so few perfume scents that I really enjoy anymore that I have to be honest, I love the smell. It's like quite masculine, unisex, quite deep, and then citrusy, lemony, but in a very like dark toned way. I wore it this summer, I think just because it's small and transportable. I brought it with me on a trip, and when I smelled my own clothes, I was like, these smell really good, and that was the way I kind of found out how much I like this. Genuine favorite, although it's kind of a problematic favorite because it's from, yeah. And then I've just been thinking about how much I love the mint scented Burt's Bees lip balm. and how I want to replace it when it runs out. That's how I know that I really love something. So that's kind of my parameter, and I really love this one. And that's the same case with this shampoo. The label's like really peeled. I don't know why they made it that way. The last bottle I had didn't have this problem, so I emptied a whole bottle of this patchouli shampoo, and now I'm on my second bottle. I really love the way this smells. Again, I'm a patchouli girl and I'm a lavender girl. This is my lavender body wash, this is my lavender hand cream, and this is my lavender deodorant, like a natural deodorant. I really recommend this actually, if you want a natural deodorant that actually works. I mentioned this at the end of my Hamburg video. I have become a lavender girl. I don't know when that happened. Another favorite is really obvious, but I love the skin food from Veleda. It smells really nice, and it's really perfect for dry and cold winter skin. And then I have this night cream. I just use it as a face cream. It's a Danish brand that only does organic products. What I especially love about this, apart from how moisturizing it is, this one has a scent that I find super pleasant. Kind of like a health food store. Like very muted spices. That's what this smells like to me, and I love it. And I'm going to look for another one if and when this runs out. These are two products from like a kind of bougie Danish brand. I love their packaging, and I love the scents of their products are really special. They use a lot of like aromatherapy ingredients. Last January I bought myself this face spray as like a little present for myself because I'd finished my conversation analysis exam. It smells so wonderful, and I would say it's probably still half full, and I've not been like holding back on using it. I put it next to my bed and I often apply it at night. This feels like really rejuvenating and like hydrating and nice. Hyaluronic acid, grapefruit, eucalyptus, organic aloe, organic lavender, and orange. Not sponsored at all. Use my own money on this. This one I bought as a future restock of the one that we currently have, that I've been kind of not using a lot because I wanted to keep it for as long as possible because I love it so much. It's a hand soap. It has essential oils from lemongrass, eucalyptus, rosemary, sweet orange, and peppermint. It smells divine. I love using it. So this is definitely a little like, it feels to me very like adult and luxurious to have such a wonderful hand soap. I cannot recommend it enough. But I'm also just maybe kind of a soap head. I love soaps. I bought 4 soaps when I was in Portugal. That's like mainly what I came home with. I bought lemongrass, patchouli, and lavender. And I love the packaging, it's so cute. And then this one's really interesting. It smells like tar. It smells like wood smoke, which I love. I love bonfire scent. Feels a bit maybe counterintuitive to wash your hands to get the smell of smoke onto you if you're not a fan of that scent. I know a lot of people are not. They want to shower immediately if they've been near a bonfire. I do not feel that way. I actively seek out the scent of wood burning and bonfires. Not only this, but I also have the log fire Muji scented candle. I don't like scented candles in general, like at all, but I love this one because I love the scent of smoke. And I also have this Lapsang, which is a type of tea that has been smoked, so it tastes like bonfire also. I really like combining it with cumin tea, those two things together. Kind of miscellaneous things. My Freitag bag that I bought this summer in Hamburg, I love it so much and I just wanted to put it on here. I think it combines well with a lot of my winter colors and coats, like my dark green coats. It looks really nice with. And now with the silk scarf, these tie together really nicely. And it also fits the flat water bottle really well. I bought something a little bit impulsively. I bought this Fjellraven jacket. There's a zip on the side and there's a zip in the middle here. And then there's a huge pocket on the front. So it's almost like a hoodie, but as a jacket. And the cool thing with this is that you can wax it. And I do have wax for this type of Fjellraven fabric. And I need to use my hair dryer for it. So I really am excited to try that because it's going to make it more windproof and waterproof essentially. So like an oilskin. I love the silhouette of this and I love the color of it. It reminds me a lot of my grandfather. And I saw it randomly at a flea market, and it is essentially new, and it is a third of the price of what it is from new, but it's just an expensive quality piece. So I'm excited for when it gets a little bit warmer and more appropriate to wear this. But I'm also excited to wax it. Like spend that time with my new jacket. I love writing down notes in this notebook that I've had since March 23, but I've kind of picked up a bit on using it these last few months. I've really written down my thoughts from start to end, and video ideas such as this one, it's in here. Of course, I'm using the Muji iconic gel pen. Let me show you. This is my current little pencil case. I really love this Pentel brush sign pen. These are so pleasant to write with and draw with. Another miscellaneous thing is that I have come to realize that I like stud earrings. I've kind of rediscovered the collection I had already of stud earrings that I've not worn because I'd kind of convinced myself that I didn't like them, that I didn't like wearing them. And then I just tried wearing some and found it surprisingly pleasant and fine. Not to be dramatic, but that experience is so fun to me when you get to kind of rediscover something and you get to move the boundaries of who you think you are, just in small little ways. It just makes the world feel way more open and full of potential. The fact that you're not done getting to know yourself and your preferences, the fact that you can change your mind, the fact that you're never going to be done figuring out who you are, that it's always an ongoing progress. Like, can you tell how much the light has disappeared as I was filming? I'm gonna wrap it up because of that. The last category is music. This album, Some Nights I Dream of Doors. It's a musician who lives in London. He's from Nigeria, and this album is so wonderful. All the different songs are beautiful in their own right. Like, I don't want to skip any of the songs. They really work well together, and you can listen to each one of them without listening to the whole album, but listening to the whole album as you do on vinyl is like a really specific and wonderful experience. And I'm really excited to follow this artist in the future. I really love this album, and I'm very happy to own it on vinyl. I'll put some other songs on the screen that I'm enjoying recently. I actually took a break from Spotify from May until this December, and it's been really fun to revisit some music that I haven't had access to, and feel free to recommend me any music that you like, because I want to use the full scope of what Spotify can do while I'm paying for it. Let me know what you're enjoying specifically in this winter time. I love making these types of videos. I love making these videos in general on my channel, and I love that there are people watching them. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!